Hello friends, welcome to my Royal Princess Diana channel. Before moving on to the video, if you are not subscribed to my channel, do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so let's move on to the video. Meg confessed to bullying personnel, and then comes the sickening evidence. She basically said she had done it during that interview with Oprah, and, of course, much of what she said was lies. Investigations into the alleged bullying by Meg, by staff, appeared to be locked away in palace archives indefinitely. However, new developments suggest the truth could emerge sooner rather than later. So, let's start this subject by being part of today's conversation. Shedding some light on the way of treating people under her, a former palace staffer, Samantha Cohen, has jumped to the rescue. In this context, the importance of Cohen is that she is one of the aides who have been at Meghan's side the longest, since being hired by the actress when she joined the royal family. Her daunting task was to convince Meghan, who is self-centered, to abide by the undisclosed protocols of royalty. Under the increasing pressure, Cohen finally began to question whether she should remain in the post. She has also said she was quizzed directly by Meghan over her alleged bullying. Samantha Cohen is only one among many staffers who have suffered mental and physical distress while working with Meghan. Leaked information points a finger at Meghan targeting female employees, some even afraid to go to work. Instances of mistreatment came about when staff didn't meet Meghan's standards. For example, the red carpet, any red carpet preparation. And the number of staff leaving making complaints of bullying is indicative of a trend. Meghan is a bully. Examples of her behavior included being mistreated to the 3-year-old Charlotte, disrespecting the late Queen by curtsying to her, and helping herself to the nickname. These repetitive incidences reveal an undeniable pattern. Prince William had to step in to tell Harry that Meghan's behavior was not on, and Harry then realized this when she appeared not interested in royal work. It is their attempts at evasion from admission of a misstep and wrongdoing, both by Harry and Meghan, that ultimately cause a backlash. It doesn't seem that they accept any blame for their actions. A spokesman for Sussexes further confirmed that Meghan was against bullying from her own personal experience and that she was an advocate for protecting people who are bullied. But this was just a platitude. Think of Meghan's own strained relations with family. How could she have felt for others from within? Solely from the way she had been treating her father. When brought to light, Meghan's mask of kindness is shattered beyond repair, and her true, bitter nature is revealed. Meghan's alienation of her very own family extended to influence Harry to turn away from his own. The Sussexes turned down an invitation to meet with the late Queen, thus denying Harry that last chance to see his beloved grandmother. It seems that Meghan's actions are a case of vengeance, as can be proven in the way she summoned Harry to rebuke him as it regards the staff treatment. Although publicly denied, Meghan apparently abuses people again by pointing to royal staff as the cause of their troubles when they left. I saw profound damage being done to these employees. They devoted their time to the support of the Sussex couple, only to impose on them mental exploitation and undue criticism. If not for the binding of the secret under confidentiality, then they could reveal Meghan's true colors to the public. Many hope that the bullying report by the palace would have been hiding, as the late Queen had done, for the sake of protecting the victims rather than Meghan. Speculation over leverage points or comments such as Meghan not being close to her kids, hence she never was pregnant, are just claims and personal attacks. There are feelings and issues with public figures, they are a fact of life. Their discussion should be based on credible information, not spreading rumors without proof or character assassination. I would rather think that, bearing the secret report in mind, there is no point in speculating upon its contents or whether it could be used as leverage without having something concrete in my hand. Speculating whether Meghan denied the bullying allegations or not, or the kind of relationship she does have with her children is pure sensationalism and further divides the issue. Healthy discourse brings forth facts and creates understanding among different points of view, not making baseless accusations or conjecture. Always remember, let us discuss with respect and only about issues that we can easily prove. These were but a few inconsistencies that rendered Meghan's supposed pregnancy doubtful, from her very odd belly shape to her continuingly wearing high heels and engaging in physical activities. Identity of the alleged biological parents of Meghan's foster children is still hazy. What actually steals the limelight is the constant maltreatment at the hands of Meghan. The children face a psychological trauma of being isolated from family links and basic socialization. Their story hits a bell for a familiar plot, one that needs intervention urgently, and one whose truth must see the light of the day to protect well-being. The pattern of bullying Meghan follows, with or without her and at various targets over the years. The constant thing is that her husband Harry has always protected her actions. He might not have known or didn't want to pay any attention to this, but Harry always never left Meghan to take responsibility for anything. Reports from the Daily Mail state that they told staff to take their concerns to Harry, who either ignored them, buried, or made them worse by reporting back to Meghan. He only intervened and calmed a member of staff that was very upset after Prince William had told him to do so. This is the only way the mistreatment was exposed. This further meant that Prince Charles would be equally annoyed with Harry because he had equally taken part in the mistreatment alongside Meghan. Meghan's dismissive attitude, as when she answered that she was not there to baby people, basically reeks of, "I could not care less." It sounds like she's comparing fulfilling her responsibility to a spoiled child who wants to have all the luxury, the privilege, and Harry's title without thinking of the consequence of what she's doing. But she seems not to understand that bullying is never right and that more letting her bully and get away from destroying her. Targets have ranged from the late Queen and Prince Philip to Princess Charlotte at the wedding, Princess Catherine online, royal staff, and countless others. Despite trying to spin the perception, Meghan's character has come to the fore, and there seems no turning back. That was an opportunity she squandered with humanly those kinds of grandiloquent delusions of grandeur. Kindness seems to be a foreign word in her vocabulary. I wished for the time when all would be laid bare. The dastardly character of Meghan is here to stay, Hollywood or no Hollywood. The now famous Fiji market incident, as it were, boded nothing good. The visit was cut short, and abruptly so, after spotting unwomen representatives who were dealing with personal matters rather than professional duties. Incidents, such as spilling tea on employees during an Australian trip, have further tarnished her image. Can anybody still believe that Meghan is innocent about the bullying allegations? I seriously doubt that. Her behavior, characterized by manipulation and portraying herself as a victim, is really very bothersome. Most disheartening is her seeming attitude toward racial issues as shown by her past unwillingness to acknowledge her heritage and then turning around and throwing accusations of racism in order to avoid getting punished for being a bully. The tactic in itself could be construed as a form of bullying, using the sensitive issues of society for personal gain. Further, Meghan's divisive words not only made racial relations tense but contributed absolutely nothing towards being able to bring understanding or dialogue. She then continued with words that clearly placed her security above the well-being of others, thereby creating even greater levels of division and animosity that could not be easily ignored. This kind of behavior does nothing other than to undercut real efforts at making a difference in the face of racial inequality and begs a question of whether Meghan really has any interest or commitment to doing so. Meghan rarely speaks positively about anything unless it's a utility to her victim narrative. She uses it selectively to portray herself as the perfect victim of the situation. The truth does not matter. It was clear that such a level of deception was either very difficult for readers to detect or understand, as seen from his book, Spare, from his contradicting accounts. But I am putting staff sitting at her desk, in tears speaking volumes to me of them being missed. The irony of Meghan standing herself as a victim of harm that she does to others is just very vivid. She appropriates others' experiences of bullying to bolster her own narrative, completely disregarding the genuine pain of those she victimizes. As a person who has undergone bullying during his childhood, I feel for those employees who are on the receiving end of Meghan's cruelty in bullying. Having met the same individual at school and in the office, I do understand what it means to be bullied physically and emotionally, especially in this case, when it happens on a daily basis. Harry chooses to ignore ignorantly how his wife is treated amongst the palace staff and chooses to ignore children, old people, and animals or any other minority group in society. Therefore, Meghan Markle's failure to own the alleged wrongs was the height of callousness despite the palace's fairly extensive investigation, which included speaking to 10 different individuals, and securely storing documents. Meghan's horrible treatment of these people is unspeakable. At Kensington Palace, staff was shared between William and Harry initially, and even when Princess Catherine came into the household. But all this changed when another spouse was introduced into the royal fold. The staff got divided into 2 households, and each has got different management under William and Harry. This reorganization interestingly coincided with some of the notable reports of heightened staff turnover within the palace walls. These are questions thrown wide open that beg scrutiny on the causes of this reported increase in staff turnover, including, but in no way limited to, a change in management styles, changes to the workplace culture, and wider dynamics within the royal family. Problems related to the staff would have to be reported to either William or Harry. But Harry never backed his staff, he would just dismiss their complaints, blame someone else, or even ignore them. It was only when William finally broke ranks to speak with a departing member of staff that the full extent of the mistreatment became evident. The staffer is obviously distressed. Resigned would seem the only remedy, for this staffer had disclosed Harry's poor handling of issues emanating from the wife's behavior. William had escalated the matter to senior staff administration. Meghan and Harry would never say that, of course, but the late Queen's decision to keep it under wraps gave Meghan carte blanche to do as she wished. Only the recent emerging voices of the victims suggest a shift. The royal family might have given them permission in private to open up, thereby giving the victims permission to unburden and free the family from feeling any prejudice against Meghan. Though she takes initiatives and encourages her happiness with public affection, Meghan seems to love difficulties and thrives on negativity. Bullying, no, of course, it's not acceptable in any form, be it from the boisterous or, for that matter, an otherwise meek side of a society member. There may be respect for the privacy of people, but in cases of bullying, it should not be covered up, and the victims are silenced. The good name of the monarchy is defiled enough, and not a way should be given for the continuation of this harmful behavior. It is an essential step in bringing each and everyone into justice, not letting them escape from the consequence of action against anyone. In the case of Harry and Meghan, the behavior of both is subjected. However, a very disturbing pattern is emerging that Harry does not face from ladies. The difference in accountability only serves to perpetuate inequality and undermine efforts to address and prevent bullying. If one decides to keep the report on bullying private, he takes away the ability for his experience to be recognized and to obtain redress. This is unconscionably keeping the report silenced and the voices of those persons without agency. That is treating them like children, that is, children who cannot have their minds to say what is the right thing or wrong thing and are subjected to justice for every abuse done to them. Steps need to be taken, and these are very essential, towards transparency and accountability inside the monarchy so that it does not prove more damaging but encourages the culture of respect and equality. Exemplifying leadership was to be a portrayal of leadership by the Sussex couple as prominent figures, in the core values of respect and fairness. The other reality reports point out is that Meghan is said to have been mistreating palace staff. She showed favoritism toward Princess Catherine and even had judgment based on her looks. Such kind of behavior is not only disappointing but it shows a shallow and rude approach to human relations. It is very necessary to observe that the staff in the palace plays a very important role in the support of the royal family, for help in running the operations smoothly. Belittling them does not minimize their contribution but rather creates a toxic work environment. Any leader, however high up the status ladder, that ends up resorting to belittling, bullying, or abusing others really ought to reassess their suitability for that role. The palace staff must have heaved a sigh of relief on the day Harry and Meghan announced that they were taking a step back from senior royal duties. If not for anything else, it gave the members of staff some temporary reprieve from the reported bullying. This would have signaled a change for the better within the working environment of the royal household. The innocent would push for openness, and for any report from an inquiry to be made public, in the same way I would if I were innocent. This reluctance toward such disclosure normally casts a doubt and seems like an admission of guilt. In some way, this means the audience wants to reveal the true character of Meghan beyond the carefully created facade which she shows among them. His association with Harry seems to have emboldened him and may have bloated his ego to the extent that it led to disregarding the set-down protocols and traditions on how things are done, from respect for the late Queen and Prince Philip to how staff are treated. Meghan's behavior mirrored the entitlement that sometimes comes with the new power and status. One can't help but feel it was this entitlement that motivated her actions and decisions, rather than being a character flaw that advanced tensions within the royal family and widened her problems in the court of public perception. Very disturbingly, the evidence from royal insiders points to a very disturbing pattern of Meghan inflicting narcissistic abuse on palace staff, a point reportedly made by Prince William during one of their couple's arguments with Harry. And of course, even the late Queen felt the need to intervene, reminding Meghan of the pressing demand to treat staffers with respect and dignity. That's what, however, is disturbing, a constant brush-off and disrespect by Meghan in response to conversations with her about her behavior. This striking contrast of her deeds versus the expected norms, and most especially within the traditional, hierarchically bounded surroundings of the royal family, brings out great hypocrisy in her character. This is juxtaposed with Harry's stories of how Meghan gets hysterical when things get rough, and one is just really irritated by the hypocrisy. Where Meghan represents herself as an emotional well-being warrior standing for progressive values, with all reported behavior represented as the one completely separated from the public image and acting in private. This dissonance questions her credibility in these aspects and above all, the sincerity of her advocacy. For she epitomizes a person of low character. No efforts could rectify her demeanor. Be it at the management level or standing in the same company, if one works under this lady, she will not treat him fairly because she feels he is inferior to her. He cannot seek any help from them, considering them to be of a lower status, because it will show his inability. She would only talk to those who are way above her. She has no time and pretends to have any sort of feminism. On top of that, she exploits staff without compensation and lives in a house free of rent and mortgages, among other free amenities. Maybe a dictionary would enlighten her about the meaning of being deceitful and bearing malice. Add that to the fact that the positions at the palace have almost nil wages to offer. But, the benefits come in the form of priceless experience, networking, and being able to place oneself under well-to-do individuals, other royal families, or established corporates. Meghan is actually showing a blinding bias against any woman who could be a threat to her, like saying to some of them that they could have been influential over Harry. Her different treatment of women and men CEOs is bullying her professed feminism. Meghan is a tapestry of lies and manipulations. That is why I am convinced Meghan is a human personification of hypocrisy. She bullies indiscriminately while appearing to be the victim, even up to being the mouthpiece of any organizations and movements against bullying. The falsity is just staggering. It's just like the ridiculous accusations she had in the past about how she is discriminated against within the royal family and in the UK because she is black, and all along, she was the one who looked down on colored people. To her, common folk are just meant for exploitation like an ordinary black royal staffer, or even the black children in Fiji. Meghan is self-serving, and she does not have a heart that is kind. Thus, published or not, the report seemed rather clear on its findings. The astonishing aspect is Meghan's background of an average actress not from the royal blood yet showing no value for the high status given to her. With that, she has an inflated ego even letting so-called feminists among her shared staff be bullied, even some who are women of color. Her hypocrisy does not even have its own limits. she not only waltzes up to the dais, but actually takes the stage with microphone in hand, espousing what should be said and done for women's rights. Everybody but she and Harry could see that she was a living, breathing example of double-faced hypocrisy. With a proclivity towards bullying, there is hardly a need for a report. From children to the elderly and to whole nations, her history in bullying is well documented through mass media. Meghan represents a special type of personality that ensures their approach to communications is constant. This is her state of intolerance toward people whose ideas are not at par with hers. She should not be bullying people by making them a victim of her prejudiced behavior. She tries to exert control beyond the limit and makes people do whatever she thinks is right, under the garb of knowing things in the best possible manner. Differences of perspective from hers are disdainfully blown off. Meghan is a respecter of other people's ideas. She does not see anybody as owning his or her point of view. She took her power over the employees and caused them emotional suffering. Working for Meghan became a real nightmare. Each morning, employees simply did not want to come to the office. Well, one is bound to be passionate, especially on issues relating to empathy, accountability, and transparency when it revolves around mistreatment of others. But, while making an analysis of the same, one should be definitely mindful of what is said and never make sweeping generalizations about individual inner qualities or motivations unless one does have very good evidence. Sure, the fact that the report on the bullying was not released brings to bear questions over the behavior of Meghan, but the notion that all is to be attributed to her actions, and a darkness in her heart and soul is sure an oversimplification of complex human behavior. There are many sides that motivate people and influence their actions in society, bringing with them the experience from life, mental issues. To speculate about what this may say of Meghan's motives or some kind of character trait only seems to further an atmosphere of negativity and division, continuing some of the ugliest stereotypes. It is, of course, important that these discussions take place with empathy, openness, and the aim of mutual truth-finding in trying to understand the situation. Ultimately, the process of accountability based on people's behaviors should derive from evidence and fair procedures, not from personal dislikes or preconceptions. We, therefore, need to work together to make sure that this is promoted through dialogue and positive action that will make for healing, reconciliation, and positive change. That's it for our video, my friends. I hope you have liked it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and like the video. If you haven't done so yet, if you want to be first to be informed about my content, please subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on notifications. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. I'll see you in the next one.